like to introduce Harry Hubball from British Columbia University.
Great to be here. It's lovely, thank you. And my name's Harry Hubball, and I'm the chair of the International Masters Five-a-Side World Cup tournament, which began in 2006 in England and is hosted in Europe every year. And we've been to some wonderful venues at Switzerland and Turkey. We were just in Paris. Next year's tournament will be in Copenhagen. The one after that, Brussels, and then all being well, we'll be at the House of Football at FIFA in Zurich 2022. So most of the time we're just going to be participating. It's going to be games that you're all very familiar with. Okay, so bear with me. What I'm going to try and do is we're going to try and make up the teams that are all even. I'm just going to give you a number. Just remember your number, okay? Quite fortuitous really as these things happen. So Paul was in Vancouver and asked to meet with me and talk about the International Masters World Cup and talk to me about how brilliant this setup was here. I was really quite impressed, and we kept in touch. Nice, good try, good try. I'm out here doing research on Masters football, and so I said I'm going to be in Zurich at FIFA and in Brussels, so I thought it was quite simple to come to Guernsey from Brussels. I didn't realise I had to go via the UK, but it was been well worth it. Oh, got a nick. Yeah, that'll do. Got a nick. You know, when you look at the facilities, that's huge, and I think it's so easy when you're in a place like this to probably take it for granted, but my word, the facilities you have, the atmosphere, the leadership, they're all high qualities for not just a great programme, but sustaining a great programme. So I see a great atmosphere here, I see a great culture. I mean, fantastic for a small island. And of course this was a bit of a two-way, let's see how it works, let's see. But everything I've seen today, the group here would fit in marvellously with the teams that come along from a whole host of countries around the world for the International Masters World Cup, and the quality too, in such a short period of time to do, if you like, an intensive coaching session from the 3v3 to the 4v4 to the 5v5. The folks have done fantastic.
It's got great facilities, gives everyone a chance to get out there, join in, be part of a team, play a bit of football maybe where they've had a rest for a long time from it. It's not as easy as everyone thinks. You know, you need a little bit more energy than maybe most people would think. It's certainly more fun than most people would think, so there is a bit of a stigma attached to it, it seems, from football players. But once they join in, and I've joined in, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Football and Masters football, like any other thing, is an ongoing learning process, and that goes for me too. You know, I could answer you, what did I learn from today, as much as what the folks have gotten from today. And of course, I think the roots here are fundamentally small-sided walking football, but just look at the way they adapted to the non-conditioned, non-walking football was fantastic, almost without a blip. Now, interestingly, I work with teams and clubs around the world where it's going from the running game to walking football. And I think there's a bigger adaptation there for people to get used to. So it was quite interesting to hear people saying, oh, we can actually run, and then seeing that they can actually do that quite comfortably at our age. It's interesting, you know, the groups that I work with, usually it's going from the running football to the walking football, and people find it so odd for the first little while to get used to. And it's interesting listening to a few people saying, oh, you can run, and getting used to it in the other direction. But you're playing really, really nicely in the small-sided game. Particularly where the game's a little faster, i.e. non-walking football, you lose a player at your peril. And even when you're watching the ball for a moment in a small-sided game, your player's got one or two strides on you, and that's basically the goal is on a 2v1. So I think those sorts of very disciplined approaches to team defence in a small-sided game is probably something that is a constant challenge for all teams, but is a really important part. And it's so easy to get lost in the game because it's fast and dynamic, and it's so easy to just watch the ball momentarily and not realise that your player has just got a stride on you and you had it. So outside of that, I think they did really well. Oh, well done. Oh, we got a 2v1. That's a great ball. Oh, Brazil. Oh my word, take a look at that. To come from a fundamentally walking football environment, for them to adapt to the running game without threat, without worry or whatever, and to play the way they did with such quality, was quite an eye-opener to me, because I wasn't quite sure with that adaptation. Now, as I said, most of the time I'm working with clubs and teams that are making the adaptation from the normal running game to all of a sudden having to condition it to walking football. And I know that from experience, they find that very, very awkward, but for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then when you get into the game and it's A against B, the game naturally teaches you to adapt and they get there.
Today, talking, movement is key to a game. You know, movement off the ball is good. Control is obviously, you know, everyone needs to have a touch. But movement and talking can make the game a lot easier.
The adaptation here was much more seamless, and I think it's largely because the folks are fairly active and they're fairly healthy. And this was part of the needs assessment I did with Paul at the beginning by saying, you know, there are some extra challenges going from walking football to the small-sided running football, and I needed to know about capabilities, about risk, about injury, about safety. One of the major attractions to walking football are people who have, you know, injuries can still feel that they can enjoy walking football, which is a wonderful thing, and also people with some health concerns. And so this was something I had to discuss with Paul that was more specific than going from the running football to the walking football, obviously. And so with that safety in mind, we were able to do a really good session today.
Thoroughly enjoyed today. It's good that Paul and, you know, the England coaches can get over here and support us on the island. So no, it's been really good. And when you look around, everyone's enjoyed it. So yeah, it's been good fun.
I mean, I'm just so impressed with not just the culture of the club, or the facilities and the environment, but I would say don't feel apprehensive or wondering whether the quality that I saw here was very comfortable with around the world. And I'm very lucky and privileged in many ways to play football and coach in countries from North America to Europe to the Middle East to Australasia, and what I've seen here is very consistent with that. So just because Guernsey is a little tiny island, in the grand scheme of things, the football here is right here at the 50+ football for sure. Oh, nice! That's great! Great ball! Great ball!